We're obsessed with the Connie Fife Show. It's about a lifestyle shift to move up or out.
Hey, what's your jam? What's the one thing that really drives you? What makes you unstoppable?
It's about opening a new door to live your dream.
People give up way too early on their dreams.
It's about enjoying the journey. It's about keeping it real.
Damn, now the interviewee is interviewing the interviewer. I like this.
It's all about you.
I knew there was something else I wanted to do. Stop taking shit so seriously. Y'all can do this. Take an outrageous look at life and laugh.
This is the Connie Fife Show.
We love your voice. We love your jam. You need to be on radio.
And now your host, Connie Fife.
Well, hello there. It's Connie Fife, and this is the Connie Fife Show. We are a business radio show with an edge, and you get it all here, unscripted, unedited. And we talk about, oh my God, we talk about so much shit that is helping people move up or move out and live their dream. That's what we're all about here, because we are keeping the passion of life activated for the world's most daring minds. Now, today, we have a special guest, and I don't know if he realizes how special he is to me, but I've been stalking him for probably close to 10 years. Probably as long as I've been in business, I have been stalking this guy. And I'll tell you why in a couple of minutes. So let me introduce him. He's a master storyteller. He was recently named one of the top motivational speakers. He's a natural entrepreneur. He's known for his giving spirit and knack of translating complicated situations into simple, digestible concepts. He shares the most valuable lessons that we learn in life, and they're always the easiest ones to apply. So, a lot of time we just make it more difficult than it really is. And as a best-selling author, keynote speaker, he inspires his audiences with the topics of perseverance, success, and turning ideas into reality. So welcome to the Connie Fife Show, author, speaker, producer, Dr. Greg Reid. Hey, how are you?
Crowd goes wild.
Oh, we are wild. He's here. So let me first start out by why I've been stalking you. And I've written you, I don't know if you've seen it, but about 10 years ago, and I first got in, I'm in my 12th year now in business. When I first got into business, I had an old friend, actually I used to date him, and contacted me and said, hey, I'm going to be in town. We need to meet. And of course, at first I was like, well, why does an old boyfriend want to meet? I don't know if I could do this. And actually my husband said, no, go meet him. What are you worried about? I don't know. I'm like, okay. So instead of dinner, I agreed to lunch. I figured it was safer that way. So we meet, and he says he wanted to talk to me about my speaking career, my speaking business. And I was like, oh, well, it's not going so good. And I was really ready to drop out and go back and find a job in corporate. And he's like, no, you can't do that. And he said, you need to read this book. And he tells it to me during dinner over a couple of cocktails. I leave, I go right to the bookstore. I immediately went to the bookstore and I said, I need to buy this book. I think it's like 3 miles from gold or something. They're like, oh, no, we don't have that. And then they come back and say, we have a book. It's 3 feet from gold. And I was like, okay, I'm buying it. I read it that night. And Dr. Greg Reid, I want to thank you because I never gave up on my business. And today, 12 years later, I am running most successful business that I could have ever dreamed of. So I want to thank you for that right from the start.
You're absolutely welcome. And the majority of people enjoy my reading when they're drinking, so that worked out great.
So it worked out great. So I was perfect. It was perfect. I did that. I couldn't get the name right initially, and now I've never forgot it. It sits right here on my desk whenever I'm coaching someone. You are my go-to a reference book for them to read, get a copy of it, and hang on to it. So again,
I think it's it's really interesting when we first find that first little, boom shakalaka that inspires us.
Yeah.
Mine was Ultimate Gift by Jim Stovall.
Okay.
And some people can grow rich, and other people are born rich, and some are rich dad, poor dad. And it's so neat because that becomes your little Geiger counter, so to speak, for what inspires you. Yeah,
it is.
That's so cool.
I mean, I've read many, of course, Think and Grow Rich. I have one of the first editions of my father-in-law that I have now is one of the original first editions, but that doesn't sit on my desk. Yours does. It's never gone away. Now, I know you're going to be coming up and you're speaking in LA pretty soon at the City Summit, and I'm going to see you there. I'll be hanging out there. Yep, I'll be hanging out there as well. So I'm glad to see that you're going to be an MC there. That was so exciting. So a lot of you work you do. So those that are listening, I'm sure many of them know you, but then there's others saying, okay, what does this guy do? Why is Connie so excited about him? So let's just jump right into that. So what it is that you do? I mean, you really work with and help the world's wealthiest people get richer, build their wealth, hold on to it. That's a big thing.
My claim to fame is real simple, is that my son, Colt Asher Reid, he's probably my biggest claim to fame. And for the business side of things, I got the greatest gig in the world. I get to travel around the planet and meet the most powerful and influential people. And then I tell their stories in books and film. And I happen to be able to make friends with a lot of these people along the way. And I started a little event called Secret Knock. So I've been published now in 78 books, 45 languages.
Right.
I've done 5 movies. And just for the people that want to be aspiring authors, I cannot read, I cannot write, I have dyslexia, and I'm a doctor in literature. So it gives you hope, okay? And so the whole idea is that I surround myself.
That is so cool that you even share that, because I'll work with people and they're like, but I have a story, but I don't know how to write, or I don't have good grammar. I'm like, trust me.
Trust me. You don't need it. Here's like a no Santa Claus. An author is the person whose name goes on a book, and a writer, the person who wrote it, usually 2 different people. But I'm going to sit there and say a boy gets off his butt and takes action, walks his dog, mows lawns, makes some money. And they're going to take it and say, it was a glorious Sunday afternoon when a young bright-eyed lad met the entrepreneurial spirit. And they make it sound like it does. And we work together. There's a great thing in business. You work your strengths and you hire your weaknesses.
Absolutely.
So what I do, so I hire the great writers to help them come out to life.
Absolutely. And actually, it was from you that I took that following, and I have 7 books now myself, and working on my next one. If it wasn't for that person writing it, it probably would have never left my head. How can I say it? Because thinking and writing quicker than I'm thinking, and it, somehow it just kind of comes together. And then the other person that I've been working with for a while, she's able to get in my head now. And it's like, all right, is this what you're trying to say? I was like, yeah, that's it.
What you really mean is this. So what's really neat too is that I have an opportunity to travel and meet these people. So I videoed the recordings, and in the middle of the conversation, I'll stop and I'll look at the camera and go, hey, by the way, Bob, this is the point that we want to make. And so we make sure we hit it home. And what's really, really nice though, is that you meet these amazing people, but I also feel sometimes like you're playing God, because you'll spend an hour, 2 hours with them.
Right.
And one 60-second soundbite is what you use to spread to the world. And what if I would have stopped 60 seconds earlier or later or what have you?
Right.
But that's the point that hit me, and hopefully it hits other people as well.
Mm-hmm. And it does. And that's what I'm doing for my new book. I've been I started by interviewing women, and then I decided, I don't want to only interview women. I want to interview men and women. So the book has been extended, and my publisher keeps calling me, but we'll get that done. But it's really, like you said, you want to make sure you put in the context of what they're saying. So it's really good that you're recording it. Another strategy that I tell people is keep that little notepad. And I think I read this in your book. Keep that little notepad by your side, in your pocket, in your pants pocket. Whenever something comes to you, write it down. Put it by your bed at night. And when you get up to go potty, write it down. I do that all the time. So it just works. I mean, it really just works. So you're talking to all of these people. And now the one thing that you talk about is you help them build their wealth and hold on to it. So how does that happen through all of the conversations that you're doing? I mean, does it really go deeper into just having an interview with them for your book? That's what it sounds like.
Well, it's interesting you even say that. So about 3 years ago, I went through a divorce, and I have the greatest ex-wife in the world. We get along so great and co-parent our child. And we were going through separating everything. I kept going, man, we should have more money than this. All these books, all these things. And I noticed all my book titles were Perseverance, 3 Feet from Gold, Stickability. They weren't about making go. They were about not quitting.
Right.
And so I called up my first billionaire friend, and I said, will you teach me? And he goes, what do you mean? I go, well, you teach me the actionable steps you did. He said, absolutely. And I go, why would you do that? And he said, no one ever asked me. And he goes, my grandkids fight about the inheritance and they want a new car, but no one asked how I did. So I sat down with these people and I went for a 3-year journey where I met people worth 100 million to $1 billion. And I asked them the exact strategy of how they created their wealth hack. And so I wrote a book called Wealth Hack coming out in April. Literally, I believe will be the new modern Think and Grow Rich for today.
Okay. Super cool. Super cool. And and everyone's going to want to see that and get a copy of that.
Well, I'll give you the inside secrets because before you heard, if you want, that billionaire guy said, how did you make $1 billion in dirt? And he goes, he said, time plus land is wealth. And so what do you mean? It says, I look for a town anywhere that's growing about 25% a year. Go on Google Maps, you can find it. Because I look for Broadway, Main Street, and I draw a line of 8 miles and I buy the dirt. I rent the dirt to farmers who pay the lease, so it's free, and I get vegetables for years. As the town grows exponentially at 25%, it ends up on my plot. Since I'm on Main Street, I own the biggest land. That's what I sell to the box stores for 800 times what I paid $1 billion.
I had a conversation similar to this over the weekend. My husband is actually in the recycling business. And he used to be in the aerospace business, and now he has stepped into the recycling business, and now an entrepreneur. He left corporate, and again, the same thing. The money, because everything that comes in, there's no cost, and hotels have to recycle their mattress every 3 years. There's companies that do have mattresses that they can't sell because the stitches ripped or something. So they're all coming this way, and they do electronics and car batteries and other things like that too. But it's you have to open your mind up to something greater. Where is that return? How can you leverage what you're doing? So what he's doing, that is phenomenal. Buy dirt.
Well, I'll take you one of the guys that I interviewed as a billionaire guy, and he said this greatest line, and it's going to kind of parallel with what you said. He says, what if everything you ever asked or prayed for was actually given to you? However, you didn't like the packaging in which it was delivered. So if you sat there and said, God, I need $100 real bad. My phone bill's due. I'll do anything for $100. Right. A guy pulls up with a truck full of aluminum cans, and we send them on their way because they're dirty or stinky.
Right.
Actually, it was delivered. We just like the way the packaging of the $100 came. Right. So what happens once we change our perception of it, all of a sudden, perhaps everything we want's already around us because we have an abundant life.
Right, we do. And he started feeling that way. And he actually came to me and he said, you're helping people get out of corporate and out of C-suite and step into that entrepreneurial world. He goes, why aren't you doing it for me? So I was like, all right, well, let's think about this. And that's, when we went down that path. And I'm like, well, you always wanted to be a picker. Like, let's think about something in that field, in that area, that there's very little overhead coming in or costs coming in, but greater overhead coming out. So it's like,
and being a good picker, they bring it to you. That's
right. They bring it to you. Oh my God. It was like, oh my God, like the sun opened, the sky opened up. I was like, why didn't we think about that a long time ago? So I love that you're doing that. And people share with you. They are so open and willing to give you this information. But you know what? I bet if anyone were to call them, they would still be that open to share that information.
Yeah, the most successful people are also the most available and attainable. If you're brand new at something, you're happy-go-lucky, you're fresh, you're cool. If you're at the top, happy-go-lucky, you got nothing to prove. If you're in the middle, you're a pain in the neck. You're filled with ego. You're edging God out. You're finding your own voice. Right. So literally, I wanted to be a best-selling author. I didn't go to people who wrote great books. I didn't want to be a great writing author. I went to Barnes & Noble and I went to the bestseller list. And I asked them how they did it, and I duplicated their efforts, and here we are today. When I went to Africa to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, I said, who's climbed it 900 times?
Right.
Wherever they put their blueprint, I put my blueprint. So we can have anything we want as long as we follow the successful actions of other people who are doing it today.
That have already done it. And that's, again, my philosophy is giving back. And what you said, you have that middle, and I know I was a pain in the ass, but anyway, I know I was. And, so now, and even this past year, I said, okay, we have to really look at changing I want to make sure that I am giving. I'm always giving. And you know what? Just that simple mindset, my business has tripled just in a year, just by changing that mindset of giving. So, and again, a lot of it comes from your book.
Thank you. I want to touch on something where this kind of that came from that book that changed my life. I interviewed a guy named John Schwartz who created string theory. And he said, successful people seek counsel where failures listen to opinion. And people listening to this is my one big nugget. So if you're going to take anything away and write on a notepad, this is it. And I said, what do you mean? He says, well, counsel is based on wisdom, knowledge, mentorship. People already paved the way, where opinions based on ignorance, lack of knowledge, and experience, like maybe your family friend who's never done what you're going to do. So if you're going to write a book and go to a family friend and tell them you're going to do it, they might talk you out of it because you can't read, write, dyslexia, and they've never written a book. But if you go to Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, he'll say, before you get started, here's what you want to know, and give you counsel. He said, if we would spend our activities only seeking counsel and ignoring opinion, that's also the day your life would change.
Definitely write that down. So, oh my God, so much good stuff already in such a short time. But let me take a really, really quick break for our sponsors, and we'll be right back. The Connie Five Show is heard everywhere. You can find The Connie Five Show on most of your favorite networks. It's time to now recognize and thank our major networks for all of their support. In the house, we have Conscious Business Radio, C-Suite Radio, Transformation Radio, iHeartRadio. We are also heard on Google Play, Apple, Radio, Stitcher, and so many more that I just can't keep up with them all. I'm Connie Fife, your unstoppable diva. Learn more about our gym and how we can work together at my fancy schwanky website, ConnieFifeShow.com. I'll see you over there. Until then, like, share. Now back to the show. We're back with our next and new unstoppable guest, author, speaker, and producer, Dr. Greg Reid. So, Greg, I do have a few questions that I do always ask my guests. So if you could finish this sentence, and I think I probably know your answer. Why are you so unstoppable?
Freedom. So I'm in a constant search for freedom. And the whole idea is some people get motivated by money, other by power, other by fame. Mine's freedom. I love the fact that I don't have to set an alarm clock every day, and it becomes unstoppable for me that I won't let anyone get in the way of taking that freedom.
Love it. So you have done so much. I mean, you just said you climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, but answer this one. Never have I ever
not had a time in my life where there was some form of challenge. Only I changed the way I looked at that as an opportunity in disguise. And I realized, just like from Think and Grow Rich, through every adversity has an equal seed of opportunity. So I look at what's possible out of that rather than just the negative.
Love that. So what do you think is, or what do you believe is the world's greatest wound right now?
Self-doubt. I'd say self-doubt and the fear of criticism. It seems like so many people are worried about what other people think. And it's really interesting right now. If I was walking down Arkansas on some street and I tripped over a curb, I'd look up to see who saw me, even though I don't know anyone in Arkansas, right? And so I realized that there's a coffee mug at Disneyland that says, what would you do if you couldn't fail? And the big question is, what would we do when we stop worrying what other people thought? Would we ask that person for a date or start a new business? So I say, if we could get the wound of our past of what judgment is, because it's stuff that's made, then amazing things are possible.
So will you ever be satisfied?
Hope not.
That's what I expected. To be satisfied. And I read the quote somewhere, and I forget who said it, but it was, the day I'm stopped trying, the day I'm satisfied is the day I die.
Yeah, it was interesting. So when I was a kid, I was 17, 18, I made a bucket list of 80 just impossible things. Impossible, I'm telling you, impossible. And I finished them all last year. And it was really a strange, surreal thing. And it was sad, jumped out of the airplanes. I ran with bulls. I did the Baja 500, swam with sharks, climbed Kilimanjaro, you name it, carried the torch for the Olympics, did a movie, you name it. It was impossible things.
Right.
And a real moment, because as cool as it was nice having something, a goal to be striving.
Yeah.
And I realized that old quote about it's not the journey, it's the it's not the destination, it's the journey.
It's the journey.
It just really, really resonated with me. So now, since I feel like I've accomplished everything I wanted to do, I have a 6-year-old son, and I started his bucket list. And so my goal is to help him achieve that.
Okay. Nice. So what's next for you? Where do you go from here?
We're doing it. It's kind of interesting. So I've got 4 books coming out and blah, 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 blah. But the big thing is granting a couple wishes. And that's what I'm doing right now, which is giving me fulfillment. I interviewed the founder of Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Okay.
And I asked him what his wish was. And he said, "What do you mean?" I go, "Well, you're the founder. What did you ask for?" Right. And he said, "No one's ever asked." And I said, "Well, I want to grant your wish." And he says, "Well, I want my story to be told so my grandkids will know I did something." And so it took 5 years and millions of dollars. We finished his movie called Wishman, and now we're in conversations and communications for distribution worldwide to all the theaters this exact second.
Nice. Very, very nice. Isn't it amazing when you ask questions of someone and their response is, "No one's ever asked me that question"?
I keep finding that to be the exact answer. I ask a lot of these billionaire guys too. It says, "Would you like to join my men's group?" We fly into San Diego once every few months and hang out. Mm-hmm. You'd be how much they love that idea, because they have no one to talk to. I mean, majority of men around their life work for them, or they don't have buddies that they go golfing with, and everyone's striving and working. Mm-hmm. And they love that male companionship, but it's kind of missing in today's world.
And it is missing. It's definitely missing. But when I get that as well, nobody's ever asked me that question. And especially when I'm talking to an executive or someone at a level where a lot of people are like, "Oh, I can't believe you said that." We're like, why not? He's human. They're human, just like us. They put their pants on in the morning, just like us. What's the difference? And a lot of that came from when I worked at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. But I've always held that same message in. We're all human. It doesn't matter if you're in the boardroom or you're a janitor. We're all the same. So I always look at it that way. Now, I know you have some giveaways. You're going to have to 100 of our listeners.
Okay, I believe we're going to do, are we doing the video, or are we going to do the Millionaire Mentor book?
The Millionaire Mentor.
My Lord, everyone, this is the first book I ever did. It's interesting. When you write a book, you do something that's called a query letter. It's who you are, what's your message, what being an expert. I was turned down by 268 publishers in a row. The 269th one said, "Change your title, the beginning, the middle, and the end." Again, I wasn't a good writer. And I got a ghostwriter who actually breathed life into it and went on to become a worldwide phenomenon in all languages all across the world, and just became a juggernaut. And I just came out with the 3rd edition of it. Okay. And so for the people that respond to me, I'm going to give an actual copy of that book.
The Millionaire Mentor. Well, we'll make sure that we put that in our description so people know how to reach out to you and send them all of that fun information that they need. So, and again, with everything that you're doing, I mean, the listeners want to know where to go. So do you want to give them your website?
You can Google. I mean, it's pretty easy to stuff, but the main thing is Instagram. I'm a huge fan right now.
Instagram?
That's where I do everything, not on Facebook, not whatever. So it's Greg S. Reid. Just go Greg S. Reid or Dr. Greg Reid. You'll find me on Instagram. Yes. Follow there. And I'm telling you, direct message me and you have direct contact. And if you have a question about a business idea or a venture and you would like some feedback, I'd be glad to get back to you myself. It doesn't go through a secretary. It's right to me.
And I will say that he does. He answers all of his message directly himself. And I love that. I love that you do that. Well, that's about all the time we have for today. Do you have any parting words that you want to leave for our listeners?
One of the interviews from doing that book, 3 Feet from Gold, was Evander Holyfield, the boxing legend.
Yes.
How did you win more heavyweight championships than anyone? And he said, I have a higher standard. And he said, in sports, I showed up early, I left late, I invented exercise, I had a higher standard. He says, where could you be in your own business if you raised your standard? And I said, what, didn't it hurt being in a fight? He says, yeah, it hurts. He goes, but when you're in a fight, you don't focus on the pain and the blows. As soon as you do, you end up on your back knocked out.
Right.
But people outside the ring, they focus on gas prices, war, economy, and they wonder why they never become a champion. And he pulled me in tight. An Adonis of a man missing half an ear bit off by Tyson. He says, you know what the funny thing is? He says, when you do win the championship, he says, everyone comes to their feet and they chant your name. They raise your hand in victory, and the guy puts a big shiny belt around your waist. And at that moment, you don't feel even one of the punches you took along the journey. He says, but the guy in the losing locker room will have every excuse, feel every bruise for the rest of their life, wishing they would have raised their standard. So people listen to this, it's that time, 2019, draw a line in the sand, step up the game, surround yourself with people that are getting the results you want, seek counsel, not opinion, and amazing things can come.
Well, I want to thank you, Dr. Greg Reid, for being here. And again, if you're listening, you want to get a copy of his book, just reach out to him. I know he will answer. He will answer firsthand. So thank you for being here today. This has just been tremendous amounts of information.
You're a rock star. I'll see you soon.
Oh, I know. We're going to see it in a short time. So we're going to close here. Remember, we have some of our feature advertising available. Just head over to theconnie5show.com to learn more on how you can broadcast your story everywhere. And remember, we also represent the world's most daring minds who keep the passion of life activated. And if you want to learn to see if we would want to represent you and see if you qualify, just head over to thetalentconcierge.co. And I'm going to leave you with this thought. Passion plus action equals results. And as Dr. Reid would say, add faith, the unwavering belief in yourself, and you will have your own unique success quotation. And if you read 3 Feet from Gold, his equation is a bit longer. You're going to want to find it in there. But make sure you check it out, that, and get a copy of his first book. And you're listening to The Connie Fife Show. And if you like what you're hearing, like and share with us, with your friends, with your colleagues, and subscribe with us on iTunes. Until next time, activate your power and be unstoppable together. Hey, y'all, it's Connie Fife. Thank you for listening to The Connie Fife Show. Check back often. You don't want to miss any of the good stuff. If you like what you hear and would like to be a guest on the show, head over to theconnie5show.com to apply. While you're there, check out our amazing advertising opportunities that will put you right in front of your perfect client. I will see you over there. Do yourself a favor this week. Activate your power and be unstoppable together.